Tonight, Jamaica yesterday recorded 2 additional COVID-19 related deaths and 89 new cases, taking deaths to 227 and cases to 9,723. Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health and Wellness is urging Jamaican men to seek medical attention if they suspect that they have symptoms of COVID-19. Still tonight, the St. James Medical Officer of Health reports that the majority of the 985 COVID-19 cases recorded in the parish have recovered.
Which means the majority of patients have recovered. We have had over 800 persons recovered. Of that number, sadly, we have lost 37 individuals.
And UNICEF and the JN Foundation partner to execute the X Marks the Spot Road Safety Project.
This campaign is trying to do to get the word out there that road safety is important, road safety is a leading cause of death, particularly for young people, and that road death on our roads is entirely preventable.
Good evening. Jamaica recorded 2 additional COVID-19 related deaths and 89 new cases yesterday. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the deceased are a 50-year-old female from St. Catherine as well as a 17-year-old male from the parish whose death was previously under investigation. Now, the island also recorded 1 coincidental COVID-19 death and another death that is currently under investigation. The latest fatalities takes the COVID-19 death toll on the island to 227. The 89 newly confirmed COVID-19 cases takes the total of cases on record for the island to 9,723. Now, of the newly confirmed cases, 45 are males and 44 are females, ranging in age from 4 to 94 years. The cases were recorded in St. James with 31, Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Anne recorded 14 cases each. St. Catherine and St. Mary recorded 6 cases. Trelawney, Manchester and Hanover recorded 4 cases each. Westmoreland recorded 3, while Clarendon, Portland and St. Elizabeth recorded 1 case each. There are 18 moderately ill and 3 critically ill patients among the 4,199 active cases now under observation in Jamaica. Meanwhile, recoveries increased by 125, taking recoveries to 5,168. Still making news tonight, the Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health and Wellness is urging our Jamaican men to seek medical attention if they suspect they have symptoms of COVID-19. Here is Ophelia Miller with more on this story.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Besesor Mackenzie is calling on Jamaican men to seek medical attention if they are not feeling well and suspect they have been infected with the coronavirus COVID-19. She said most of the deaths related to the virus in the island to date are that of males at 123 compared to 102 females. Dr. Besesor Mackenzie, who was speaking at the Ministry of Health and Wellness COVID Conversations digital press conference yesterday, said that, and I quote, "There is a slight increase in the number of males over females who are having severe cases and resulting deaths. And this is a very important thing to note because we know that men tend to wait a while before they seek care." End of quote. The CMO noted, however, that overall most deaths are occurring among the elderly population and is imploring persons within this age cohort to continue to protect themselves from becoming infected. I'm Ophelia Miller reporting for Mello TV News.
In other news, the St. James Medical Officer of Health has reported that of the 985 cases of COVID-19 recorded in the parish, the majority of those patients have recovered. Here is Colleen May with more on this story.
During yesterday's council meeting at the St. James Municipal Corporation, the medical officer of health for St. James, Dr. Francine Phillips Kelly, says of the total 985 confirmed COVID-19 cases recorded in the parish, only 122 cases are still active.
We are in the season when the number of Aedes aegypti would have increased. We are in the time when, therefore, there will be more persons who would be exposed to these mosquitoes and hence be at risk of dengue fever. But we are also in the flu season. The flu season would have started in October, runs through until May, and of course we all know that we are in the pandemic. So there are three things that are upfront, focused, central, that we have to deal with. In respect of COVID-19 specifically, we are at this time, as of late last evening, at a total of 985 in this parish in terms of the numbers of persons who would have been confirmed as positive cases. Of that 985, we are at this time having 122 which are active, which means the majority of patients have recovered. We have had over 800 persons recovered. Of that number, sadly, we have lost 37 individuals.
Deputy Chief of Public Health Inspector in the St. James Health Department, Nadia Burgess, gave an update on the surveillance done in the Cornwall Courts community and the business district in the parish.
Or monitoring of the Montego Bay business district, and we also had surveillance done in the Cornwall Courts community. During the business drive, most of the facilities were deemed unsatisfactory due to social distancing not being practiced. Cleaning and sanitization frequency was insufficient, and some chemicals being used were not appropriately labeled. So now we have engaged some community health aides who were assigned to the environmental health unit, who will be used to help us to enforce the COVID-19 protocols for these business establishments. Tourist establishments, we have 2 major hotels who resumed their operations as of October 1. We still have 8 hotels that are still closed due to the pandemic, and 1 is under renovation.
Mayor of Montego Bay and the chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation, Councillor Leroy Williams, outlined that out of an abundance of caution, the municipal police officers were advised to be tested for COVID-19 and are now awaiting test results.
As you know, our municipal police interact with the public very closely. So out of an abundance of caution, they were advised to get themselves tested. They have done so and is awaiting the result.
Meanwhile, Mayor Williams further urged residents in the parish not to engage in improper dumping of garbage, especially into the gullies.
The appeal is that we should prevent destruction from heavy floods by paying attention to the maintenance of our drains. And that, as a people, we should avoid dumping waste in our gullies. And this is so apt because at this time we are experiencing bad weather conditions and there are flooding, and it's going to cost the country a substantial amount of money. So whatever can be done to prepare such flooding, we need to make sure as a citizen we do the right thing.
Reporting for Mello TV News, I am Kylene May.
Continuing with the news tonight, as several communities in rural St. Andrew and eastern parishes remain marooned following recent heavy rains across the island, Executive Director of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, Mr. Audley Gordon, is encouraging residents in these communities to bury their garbage until the communities are accessible. Now, Mr. Gordon explained that about 60% of our waste is organic in nature, and residents can bury these by digging a hole in their backyards. Suggested items include kitchen scraps, vegetable and fruit peelings, grass cuttings, paper and cardboard. Meanwhile, Mr. Gordon is recommending that the plastic bottles that will not break down should be bagged until collections can be resumed. Mr. Gordon said the rains have hampered the NSWMA over the past month, but the company is working overtime to get back on track. He added that nightly collections have been arranged in some areas to clear the backlog and is urging householders to properly secure their garbage until the trucks arrive. Residents are being encouraged to visit www.nswma.gov.jm for further updates or to call customer service toll-free on 1-888-CLEAN-JA, that is 1-888-253-2652 or 876-448-3220. Now, in a Mello TV News follow-up report, effective immediately, the Gordon Town Road in St. Andrew has been closed in the vicinity of Stand Up Hill to all modes of transportation. Here is more on this story with Nisisha Johnson.
The National Work Agency, NAA, is advising the traveling public that effective immediately, the Gordon Town Road in St. Andrew is closed in the vicinity of Stand Up Hill. The agency says the roadway is not safe for use by any mode of transportation. A section of the roadway embankment failed over the weekend following heavy rains associated with Tropical Storm Eta, which reduced the roadway to less than a driving lane. National Work Agency NAA Communication and Customer Service Manager Stephen Shaw says the breakaway poses a grave risk to motorists as well as pedestrian traffic and urges residents to avoid the area. If persons need to travel between Gordon Town and other locations, they are encouraged to use the Irish Town or Newcastle Road, which passes through Silver Hill Gap, Content, and Guava Ridge. Mr. Shaw says while the NAA recognizes that the detour route is much longer than the ordinary route, it is the only safe, accessible, and practical way available at this time. He explains that the agency identified an alternative roadway through Savage Pen. However, extensive work is required to make the parochial road traversable in sections. The preparation for Savage Pen Road, he says, is contingent on the weather over the upcoming days, which is forecast to produce more rains. In light of this, the NAA is reminding the public to remain vigilant when using roadways located in hilly terrains like Gordon Town and neighboring settlement, as well as to obey the prohibition order now in place in relation to Gordon Town Road. I'm Nisisha Johnson reporting for Mello TV News.
In other news, the number of Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF members has been boosted with the addition of 257 recruits from batches 125 and 126 who graduated yesterday after completing several months of training. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang congratulated the new graduates while delivering the keynote address at a virtual graduation ceremony where he told the recruits that the JCF is experiencing a season of change and modernization and stressed that it is important to build the most powerful force for good in the country and the region. Dr. Chang added, and I quote, "We are restructuring the JCF into a true Jamaican force that is built on a foundation of public safety and good order, so we can achieve sustainable development, economic growth, and prosperity for our people," end quote. He said improving the JCF will require major advancement in various areas, including science, technology, mobility and communication, welfare and safety, as well as training and development. He further stated investing in police welfare and safety is a top priority for the Ministry of National Security. Continuing with the news tonight, the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, and the Jamaica National Foundation have partnered to execute the X Marks the Spot Road Safety Project. More on this story with Tamara Mikhail.
With this Sunday, November 15, being recognized across the globe as the World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims, the UNICEF Jamaica and Jamaica National Bank Foundation have partnered to execute the X Marks the Spot Road Safety Project. Education specialist UNICEF Jamaica Dr. Rebecca Torteo, in an interview earlier today, explained that the project, which piloted in 2017 to early 2018 and is currently in its second phase of activities, is aimed at helping to make the nation's roads safer for our children.
The hard part is the behavior change, and that's what this campaign is trying to do, to get the word out there that road safety is important, road safety is a leading cause of death, particularly for young people, and that road death on our roads is entirely preventable. You know, it's a public health issue, but it's it's one that we can control and prevent by changing our behavior and being more responsible users of the road and teaching our children how to use the road responsibly. We are doing a campaign with stories of families that have been impacted. One life lost on our roads is too many. This year we have lost 367 Jamaicans already for the year. We are not at the end of the year yet, and 22 of those have been children. There is no real reason for their deaths, and while we take time to pause on this day of remembrance, which is Sunday the 15th, we also must be more resolved to do what we can going forward to prevent this, because I keep saying it and I can't stress it enough. These deaths and these injuries are preventable.
Dr. Torteo also encourages parents to learn the importance of both road safety and COVID-19 protocols that will safeguard children, especially those that are participating in the Ministry of Education's Back to School face-to-face pilot program.
The pilot will be instructive to help us to know how to reopen even more safely in January, I assume, is when that will happen. But the system will likely maintain a hybrid design, because in order to adhere to the public health and safety protocols of the number of people in a space at any one time, some children will be at school while other classmates will be at home and they will switch off. So what we want is for parents to be aware that safety extends to how we're walking our children to school, however we're transporting them, by bus, by car, on foot, on bicycle, that we adhere to the rules of the road and we add on the COVID protocols. We're all nervous, but we're guided by we're watching other countries. Every country is watching each other. Other countries have opened safely in adherence to the protocols. It's just a new normal, and we have to be prepared and we have to be resilient. And I mean, we have to try and get our lives back onto some sort of track. We can't, it's just too inequitable to have some children accessing full-time learning and other children not. We have to find a way to move forward in this COVID world. It's changed education forever. It really has. I mean, we don't know how it's going to play out, but technology and how we access it and how we incorporate it is definitely here to stay.
For Mello TV News, I am Tamara Mikhail.
In news from the capital, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie is assuring residents living in communities surrounding National Heroes Park that there will be no dislocation to facilitate the construction of the new Parliament building. Now, the minister who leads the task force overseeing the project was speaking at a virtual public consultation on the environmental impact assessment of the project, hosted by the Urban Development Corporation, UDC, and Environmental Solutions Limited yesterday. Now, he said that the project will upgrade the value of the existing communities around the Parliament building. Communities neighboring the park include Almond Town, Campbelltown, Woodford Park, and Fletcher's Land. Minister McKenzie said that it is the intention of the government to look at the physical structure around the various communities to see how they can be improved. Construction of the new Parliament building is expected to begin in 2021 and forms part of the National Heroes Park redevelopment and government campus project. The project is a component of a master plan to redevelop downtown Kingston. Still in the news, Jamaica's Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett was yesterday awarded the prestigious Gussie Peace Prize from the Gussie Foundation of Manila, Philippines. Minister Bartlett, in his remarks during a virtual presentation yesterday, said, quote, "I'm greatly honored to be considered by the esteemed Gussie Foundation in this critical period of global history. Certainly, our work with regards to tourism and global resilience has made a mark. I think Jamaica and certainly all of us who have been in the tourism management business in the island can feel justly proud that we are being considered and our work is recognized well beyond our shores." End quote. Now, the Gussie Foundation is a charitable organization whose main objective is to give proper recognition through the conferment of awards of excellence and distinction to individuals or groups worldwide who have distinguished themselves as brilliant exemplars of society. Specifically, the organizers have noted that these individuals or groups must make exemplary contributions to peace and human rights in scientific discoveries, politics, academia, performing arts, literature, medicine or physiology, journalism, humanities, physics, chemistry, religion, business and philanthropy, economics and internationalism. And those are the stories making news. I'll return with a recap. We'll now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.